the two main things that you need to be concerned with about playing drums in church is, number one, worship. You're here to worship. Nothing else matters. If you don't worship God, you will be a distraction from everybody else. You'll be trying to draw attention to yourself. So the number one thing you need to know is when you're playing drums in church, you're here to worship God, and you want to draw other people into worship. Number two, the most important thing is your job is to keep time. Doesn't matter how cool of stuff you can do. If you can't keep time, nobody is going to want to put you in their band. Nobody's going to want to have you play in their church if you can't keep time. So that's the two most important things. I want to give you just some quick tips. The way to hold your drumsticks. The easiest way to kind of explain it is to grab probably about 1.5 inches from the bottom of the stick, and you want to put your thumb straight up the stick like this, and then just wrap your index finger around. That's going to be your grip, okay? You want to put your other fingers around because you don't want them going out like this. You want to put your other fingers around, but they're not gripping the stick. They're just kind of around the stick. Both hands the same way. You want to use your wrists, not your arms. If you play with your arms, you're going to wear out real quick. So you want to mostly play with your wrist. You want to have a good, your palms down is the proper way to do it, and your stick tips close most of the time. So, and you want to concentrate on kind of starting at one point and ending at that same point. The best way to practice that is to put your sticks kind of about maybe a foot off the drum, put one stick on top of the other, and like if you're working with your right hand, exercising your right hand, you want to hit the drum and bring your stick back as fast as you can to hit your other stick. So you're kind of popping it. Call it rebound. You want to rebound off of the drum. You don't ever hit the drum and keep your stick down. You want to just real quick as you can get your stick down and back up. That's how you want to hit the drum. Okay. So you want to usually try to hit the center of the drum, and that's some really basic stuff. In case you don't know, this is the hi-hats. Open and close the hi-hat. That's your snare drum. It makes a weird kind of different sound than all the other drums. That's with the snares on. Snares on. You typically want to leave the snares on. These are your toms here. You basically hit all the drums the same way, okay? Your cymbals are a little different. Typically, you hit a crash cymbal. Your crash cymbals are for emphasis. Typically hit them along with the bass drum. You kind of hit them with the edge of the stick, kind of in the center of the cymbal. I hit on the edge a lot. Supposedly that's not the right way to do it. I don't know. Just telling you what I've been told, how I do it. But whenever you hit a crash cymbal, if you look on the cymbals, typically if it's got some writing on it, it'll say crash cymbal on there. So when you hit a crash cymbal, you want to hit it with the bass drum most of the time. It gives a nice, it's not just a, that's a little bit annoying, but if you hit it with the bass drum, it gives good emphasis. Ride cymbal, typically cymbals, like I said, it'll say crash or ride. Sometimes it'll say splash, different things. A ride cymbal is basically you play it the same way you play a hi-hat. Hi-hat you're going to play basically for the quieter part of the songs. The ride cymbal is for the louder part of the songs. So that's kind of some basics. This is the big bass drum or the kick drum, call it either one. And you want to, when you play drums, don't play shy. There are songs that you need to play quieter, softer on, but don't play shy. Don't be intimidated. You need to play with confidence. Like I said, there's dynamics. You're going to play loud on some parts, softer on some parts, depending on the song, depending on what's going on in a worship service. Here's two basic beats that will help you. The most common beats, the two most common beats in every style of music are 4/4 and 2/4. And the way that you know is when you're listening to a song, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically, your hi-hat's going to get a beat. It's going to get one hit on every count. And then your snare drum and your kick drum are going to kind of alternate on the 4/4. So it's going to be kick on 1. Okay, let me just play it first. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So your kick is on 1 and 3. Your snare is on 2 and 4. So that's just a basic. The speeds will change, the tempo will change, so it'll play faster, slower, but that's a very basic. It's in most all genres of music. You're going to use that one in church a lot. So I'll play it for a second, let you see it. I'm going to put in a fill when you play the other times and end with a crash cymbal. Typically, that's called a fill. That you use a fill to break up like between the verse and then going into the chorus. A lot of times you do a fill coming out of the chorus back to the verse. A lot of times you do a fill. That a fill is kind of to let the other band members, the worship leader, the other people singing know that something in the song is about to change. So you're kind of helping direct the song. Obviously the worship leader is directing, but you're kind of helping everybody know something is about to change or something different is coming up. So let me play 4/4, and then I'll throw in a fill and go back, and we'll play between the hi-hat and the ride cymbal. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably a billion different variations you can do for 4/4. That's the most basic. One that we play a lot is the only thing that changes is just your kick, where you're hitting your kick drum. Like I said, there's a million different ways you can play that. 2/4 is also very common, especially in church, and it's just 1 2 1 2, and you're just basically your hi-hat's getting to every beat, and your kick and snare are alternating. But it's a lot faster tempo typically. So you play 1 2 1 2. So that's 2/4. Like I said, typically that's fast. You can slow it down, or you can do Pastor Dwaller's favorite. So it's all relative. It's got to fit the song. You need to be able to listen to a song and tell what beat they're using. Is it a 4/4 song? Is it a 2/4 song? Okay. So we'll do Our God starting with the verse. I won't do any intro or anything. Okay, we're going to the chorus. Half the verse. I'm doing half the verse. I'm going to go back to the chorus. This is how I play the chorus. A little different. Second time, the bass drum different. goes from there back into the chorus, sometimes back to the bridge. You just have to kind of follow the leader on that part. But that's just real basic. Like I said, it's kind of slowed down a little bit. One thing I recommend to students, if I'm teaching them drums, I've always played cross, and it's very hard to unlearn that way. So what I recommend, you'll be much more versatile. You'll be able to do a lot more because we all rely on our dominant hand. If you're right-handed, you rely on that hand a lot. If you will learn to play drums with your left hand on the hi-hat and your right hand on the snare, if you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, do it the other way. But if you're right-handed, practice. Start out from the very beginning trying to play with your hands not crossed, because it will open up a whole lot more. You'll be able to do a whole lot more. I've seen drummers that play like this, and man, it's like they're untied because they're not relying on their dominant hand to play all the most beats, and they're also not worried about crossing all the time. So if you can play like that, then when you switch to this side and when you switch to the ride cymbal, then you switch to your right hand playing the beats on the ride cymbal. Make you a lot more versatile. Don't ever let anybody tell you, oh, your right hand and your right foot always play together. Wrong. If you do that, you'll be very, very limited in what you can do. I encourage you to listen to some jazz music, something without words, basically, and don't let that be the main thing you listen to.